Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. As always, I am so pleased that you're here. Thank you for pushing play on another episode, and of course, welcome to all of the new subscribers. If you can hear some heavy breathing in the background, it is just my fur baby Gabe. It feels like we're about to have a thunderstorm here. I'm in Mount Eliza. It has been 30 degrees for the last 2 days, and we've just started to have some thunder. So he's a little bit nervous at the moment. So if you hear some panting, that's what it is. I will try and keep him calm and give him some little liver treats and lots of pats while I'm recording. So today is a really, for me, a special episode. And it's something that I knew I needed to wait until it was the right time to record and share. And it's about working as a therapist, whether you're a psychologist or a coach or a counsellor or a mental health social worker, psych, as unvaccinated. Now, I've deliberately not entertained conversations around vaccinations, either in my group really or on my Facebook profiles or business pages, because it can be very controversial. And while, as you know, I'm happy for controversy, I love it, not everybody does. And I think it can be a very emotional topic. And I think sometimes as helpers and people who work in healing professions and caring professions, sometimes we give all of our love to our clients and we don't show up in the best way for ourselves and each other. And I just wanted to avoid that. But I feel like now it's the right time to speak to vaccinations in private practice. And it's something that I have reflected on myself as a woman, as a spiritual woman, somebody who identifies as trying to be very spiritual. I'm always learning more. As a private practice owner herself, as a coach, as someone who was a psychologist for over 20 years, and as a counsellor. And I want to share this episode with everybody, but it's really speaking to people who are not vaccinated and who are trying to thrive and even survive in the current climate in Australia and perhaps even around the world. So what I'm about to share with you is a deep and personal reflection. It's also channeled guidance that I've received, and it's also me accessing my inner wisdom. And I want to be really open with you in that what I'm about to share, I understand may not resonate with some of you, but I also understand, and it's my intention that it will resonate with others. If it's something that you find difficult to listen to, I will absolutely understand if you want to opt out of this episode, and I'll see you in the next one on Wednesday. But for those of you who would like to hear, I guess, just for what it's worth, my views on what's happening and how you can sustain your practice as somebody who may not be vaccinated, please stick around, because I have lovingly created this content for you. Okay. So I guess if you're here and if you're listening to a podcast on private practice that's called Private Practice with Soul, you are men and women that also value the role of soul, of inner guidance and of wisdom when it comes to working one-to-one with our clients, but also starting and building and growing an aligned private practice from a place of the highest good for ourselves and all others. And I imagine too that many of you may also identify as having your own spiritual practices for you. And I understand that spirituality means something different for each of us. Our practices look different. Oh my goodness, even my spiritual practices change all the time. Sometimes I'm focused on working with the subconscious mind through cards and pictures and imagery. And other times I'm using crystals, and other times I'm visualizing and journaling. So I know our practices always vary, and that's okay. But I also know from the number of people that enrolled in my courses in the Private Practice with Soul member portal around energy work, around the masculine and the feminine, and around manifesting, that you also understand that sometimes things are bigger than us, and we might not always appreciate that because we are, divine souls having a human experience, and sometimes our conscious awareness gets stuck in ego, and it gets stuck with what we're experiencing here and now in what some would identify as perhaps, the 3D world. Okay. But what I also want to honor and acknowledge is that many of you I know are trying to create an intentional private practice, or have created an intentional private practice. And so part of that process is bringing things into your reality for your highest good and for the good of others. And that's what we mean when we're talking about manifesting. We've spoken about quantum jumping and quantum leaping on different podcast episodes here. We've also spoken about the concept of collapsing time. And one of the ways that we do that is by visualizing how we really want to be and feel and behave and do and think and all the things that we want to say in our perfect for us private practice. But we also know that while there's that intention, that's what our goal is, that's what we're trying to manifest and bring into our reality. Even if we start to live as if we are already there in that place, you and I both know that there's a lag, isn't there, between us creating that intention, setting that intention, and the physical manifestation of it. We know that there's a lag. And it's that lag, it's that bridging period that is where all the important work happens. This bridging period or this lapse in time is where we see things happen that feel like they're going against us. It's when you decide that you want to make that investment in something. And so you commit to that investment and you say, yes, I'm going to pay $50,000 for this. And then something happens and you get a new bill, or the car needs repairs, or, you can't work for a period of time. So, things happen, life happens, and it looks like, oh my gosh, the universe is telling me I took the wrong step here because all these unwanted things are happening. But it's those unwanted things happening that is the evidence that things are working out for you, for the very reason that the universe needs to deselect things from your world, from your experience, from your life, from your practice, so that it can create space for what's wanted to come through. And so, yes, when we're talking about applying this to the concept of a pandemic and who's vaccinated and who's not, if you're somebody who didn't get the injection or didn't get the vaccination, you will have noticed that some experiences have happened for you that didn't happen to others. You will be very aware that you were ostracized, that you were segregated, of medical apartheid, of, you being restricted and having your wings clipped in terms of not only life, but business too. Maybe you found yourself in a position where you were no longer able to see clients face to face as a result of a choice that you made. And so it can feel to you like you're being victimized, like you're being targeted, like things aren't fair. But here's what I want you to know. It can feel like that. And it can seem like that. But at the end of the day, remember, things are working out for you based on your choices, just like they are working out for people who did choose to get the vaccination, right? Everybody's on their own path. There's no right or wrong, okay? There's what's right for you, and there's the absence of what's right for you. And so I guess what I would like to say is that when you set an intention for your practice, and something like this happens where you feel segregated or you are segregated, I want you to understand that this is the universe rearranging things for you, okay, for your path. Things only have an energetic charge when we attribute meaning to them, correct? Yeah. Energy is neutral in and of itself. It doesn't have a charge. It's meaning that's going to make something feel and seem good or bad. So if you are unvaccinated and you're feeling restricted in your practice, I want you to really think about the meaning that you are currently attributing to your circumstances. Because here's the thing, what you're going to focus on expands. What you are focusing on expands. So check yourself and check, what am I making this mean for me? What am I making segregation mean for me? What am I making medical apartheid mean for me? What am I making it mean for me that I can't leave my home? What am I making it mean for me that I'm being told now who I can and can't work with and how I can and can't work with them? What am I making that mean for me? And ask yourself, is this meaning helping me or not? And you can do this by checking in and exploring, how is holding on to these meanings impacting me emotionally? Is it helpful or unhelpful? Is it supportive or not supportive? Is it restrictive or expansive? Is it limiting or does it open things up for me? And when you've had time and space to really reflect on what you're making things mean to you, you will then be in a position where you will realize for yourself that you are now able to change your experience by changing the meaning that you're giving this vaccination, right? Or the treatment you're receiving as a result of not being vaccinated. And here's what's come through for me when I was preparing this, when it comes to meaning. This morning, I was late with my podcast for the simple reason that I had a splitting headache. But I had already started to think about what I wanted to talk with you about on the podcast today before I got the headache. I realized that when I was saying to myself things like, my head hurts, there's something wrong with me, I don't like feeling like this, I need medicine to make this headache go away. My headache felt really, 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 really bad. But then when I shifted the meaning and I said to myself, okay, it's there, my headache's there, I feel it. But instead of thinking that it's wrong and there's something wrong and it hurts, when I said to myself, I know it's my body healing something for me, I was then moved very naturally and safely into a space of gratitude. And I found myself thinking, I'm thankful for my divine healing intelligence. I'm really thankful, because without my body knowing how to heal itself, who knows what could have happened or what might be going on. So by understanding that my headache was a sign that my healing intelligence had seen something there that needed to be healed and was going about healing it, I was thankful. And from that space, guess what I noticed? I noticed that compared to headaches I'd had in the past, this one with this new attribution of meaning resolved itself more quickly than when I take Panadol. Not saying don't take Panadol, I'm just giving you my example. And also the severity of it started to lift more quickly than at other times when I'd had headaches. So I want you to really think and acknowledge for yourself that by changing the meaning, we get to change our experience of something. We enable ourselves and empower ourselves to shift from a to me level of consciousness, right? For example, I can't do this because I'm not vaccinated. The government have done this to me. The government is ruining my practice. People are being mean to me because I'm not vaccinated, etc., etc. That's right. That's to me consciousness. So you get to shift from that into the next level up, which is that by me consciousness. And this is a wonderful progression for your up level, because you now begin to see your role in this spiritual space, and it means that you can start to take some responsibility for it. And when you are there and you've started to take that action, then what happens is you then move into through me consciousness. And through me consciousness allows you to recognize that you are a vessel for source, for God, for divine energy to come through and express itself to you. Okay, you following? Yep, I knew you would be. So here's the thing. Things will naturally cycle through chaos and calm. You and I both know this. We've both had experiences in our life, in our study, in our private practices, where we've been through chaos and it's moved into calm, and then it's cycled back into chaos and cycled back into calm. And there's another cycle, which is the confusion and clarity cycle. And I'm sure you can recall experiences that you have had where you felt really confused about what to do. And maybe in your private practice, you felt confused, and that was followed by a sense of clarity. And then things stabilized for a little while until you were ready to up level or expand or grow again. And then there was that next level of confusion, followed by the next level of clarity. It's like a little cycle. I picture it in my mind like a little upward going tornado. I think it starts at the bottom and it opens as it goes up and up and up, because we open, we become more, we become bigger, we become a bigger container to hold all of this beautiful spiritual energetic knowledge and work. So when we recognize that that's what's happening, we see that's what's happening, we can begin to open ourselves up to receiving divine guidance in that through me consciousness about our important role in this next stage of being, of who we are being and of how we are showing up in our private practice. I believe that you were guided intuitively not to be injected or not to have that vaccination. Why do you think that you are just one of the 5%? Why do you think the universe chose you and a few other people? You know, if there's 100 of you, it's you and 4 other people were chosen, divinely chosen, not to get this vaccination. Why do you think that was? What do you think the universe has planned for you, right? What is it that allowed you to be selected by the universe? And what's going to become open and available to you as one of the 5% that will be in the highest good for you and for all others? What if you're right where you need to be so that you can get to where you're meant to be? Once we move through this chaos into clarity, once we move through this confusion into calm. And what if the external events, like the segregation, are actually required and necessary in order for you to reach this space that only you, as part of the 5%, can reach? What if it happened divinely? What happened if there was this bigger plan? Okay. And the universe said, we need him or her to be cut off from everybody else for a period of time. Why do you think the universe needed you to be disconnected from everybody else for a little while, this small group of you? Why do you think that happened? You and I both know that expansion is what's laying on the other side of this confusing and chaotic time that we're in. So maybe instead of doing things like worrying about segregation and apartheid, instead of contemplating and allowing a lot of your mental energy, your physical energy, and your spiritual and emotional energy to be spent in that space, well, it's only going to keep you in a low energetic frequency, disconnected from source. What if instead you began to allow yourself to contemplate what the gifts are that this space has been provided for you to explore? I know, it's so exciting. I love it so much. I love it so much. What if you were able to understand what the gifts have been provided with this space by the universe are? What is this space allowing you to do? Who's it allowing you to be? Or what's it allowing you to explore that you wouldn't be able to do without it? That you wouldn't be able to do if you were part of that 95%. Okay? I wonder if this space has been given to you so that you can prepare for your role in what's coming next. And I think that this is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way of looking at this. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than your immediate private practice. There is something bigger. There is a role for you to play. It's a reason why you were chosen, or why you intuitively chose to be part of that small 5%. Okay, there's something special here, and maybe we can't see it right now, but I'm confident. I'm so confident that this is going to be revealed in the perhaps not even too distant future. Okay, so I hope that this episode lands for those of you who are not vaccinated and who have been feeling not great. I hope this episode has resonated with you on a very deep level, in a very, very powerful way, by presenting you with my perspective on what may be happening behind the scenes for you right now. Okay? So please, you don't have to speak publicly about this. I understand it's very sensitive, but if any of this landed with you, please email me. My email's in the show notes. Just let me know. And if it's something that you want to unpack and explore a little bit more, maybe it's triggered some idea or some inspiration in you, fantastic. I would absolutely recommend maybe go through and listen to this again and pull out your pen and your journal and maybe, pause it at the right spot and allow yourself to free write anything that might come through for you. Okay? I believe you were chosen. I believe you were chosen. I believe you were chosen for a reason. I believe we might not be consciously aware of what that reason is just yet, but I believe you've been divinely kept apart from everybody else for a reason. Okay? And I don't think that reason is a bad reason. I think it's to allow you to do something that you couldn't do if you were caught up in all the other 95% stuff. And if you have been vaccinated, You are on your own path, and your path is the right path for you, and you have your message, and you have working your highest good. But the purpose of this episode today was really to give my perspective on working as an unvaccinated private practice owner, as an unvaccinated therapist, counsellor, social worker, mental health social worker in the caring fields. I hope this landed for those of you that really needed to hear it. Thank you so much for listening. Stay blessed, and I will talk to you on Wednesday. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.